how the page looks like. Obviously, it can be broken down. If you look at the column on the right-hand side, you will see what we call the test zone, and the test zone is mainly selecting a practice suitable for a specific exam, whether it's IELTS or a B1 or C1 or whatever it is. You select it from the list. And obviously you'll be able to start practicing on your own time. And obviously I have a lot of schools and universities globally and in the region indeed, they're using these as part of their own classroom. And the best part that this is free of charge. So any teacher can use it, any student can use it at their own time with them and embrace the power of AI really in auto marking of writing. There are features, of course, that are available on subscription, like what we call Class View, which is giving more advanced tools of how you manage the whole class, what kind of assessments, what kind of tasks, and obviously measuring progress of learners. We recently, so these slides obviously indicate some examples of how the auto marker works. So on top of the screen, you would see the feedback from the auto marker and the level that you reached and the type of feedback that's offered. And obviously at the lower page, you see the progress that the student is making over a period. I think it starts with a minimum of 5 attempts, and it will show you the progress gradually afterwards. So the level of accuracy and the level of reliability of that type of feedback is really growing with the more users use the platform, because obviously each user contributes by training the algorithm and the machine on how to provide feedback instantly. And obviously you will be able to get feedback exactly as you can see on the screen, highlighting where the mistakes are and how the corrections can be added and made. The interesting thing really here is how class view looks like. If you're comparing different students in your classroom, it will show the progress of the learners in their own time as well. So this is really powerful in terms of using class view. There are many videos. Obviously, for the sake of this webinar, I won't be sharing these videos, but sorry, I won't be playing these videos, but obviously they are available on YouTube. So please feel free to have a browse. Another important and interesting application that I think a lot of you would be interested in using in the classroom is very similar to the first one, and it's called Speak and Improve. And I think the beauty of Speak and Improve, it embraces AI as well in a very important skill, which is speaking. So the way Speak and Improve works is that it provides more kind of accurate and reliable conversation with the learner, at their own times, really, to give them instant feedback and decide their English language proficiency level as well. A third tool that I want to specifically add here and mention is something that we developed over the past few years called the Digital Teacher. And the Digital Teacher, digitalteacher.com, is really strong in terms of providing updates and resources for teachers and how these resources can be developed. And it will also give you an opportunity to practice or to test your digital skills. How much of a digital teacher are you? There's a test as well there that you can do, and it's all free of charge, of course. The last thing I want to talk about before I stop here and take a bit of a breather is really to share with you some insights of the global recognition of these qualifications and where would these qualifications take our learners afterwards. Like I mentioned at the beginning, globally we have a massive recognition base for CEQs, and that basically includes some big universities worldwide accepting our qualifications for their admissions. And obviously in today's world, focusing on the student mobility and the trends in these markets, are how fast students move from one country to another, and the plans and how easy it is really. I think something like this is really, really important these days. So I will share with you an example of recognition, in the UK. But like I mentioned, there are similar patterns of recognition in every country that you can think of. And all these details are available on the Cambridge English recognition page on their website. So a simple Google search for Cambridge English recognition will give you access to our link to check the recognizing institutions worldwide. I chose the UK because from our conversations with our partners, we realized that a lot of students travel from Pakistan to study in the UK, obviously for various reasons. Big universities, quality education, unique culture, also big employment opportunities with the graduate visa after studying. Lots of scholarships and financial support available, and obviously, most importantly, to me personally, the strong research infrastructure. And so obviously all our qualifications, technically we enjoy 100% recognition in all British universities. And there are certain dedicated websites also and webinars that we run for those ones, and I will make sure I'll share these details with our partners to pass to all the participants as well. So the likes of B1, B2, C1, and C2 can be used for admissions and visa purposes for the UK. A lot of universities accept C1 advanced as the minimum level of entry. But obviously that again can vary from one university to another. So obviously a student must select and must choose, must consult with their university beforehand of what is the right qualification that they recognize. And a lot of these universities, obviously, if you're familiar with the UK system, the focus is really on applying through the UCAS tariff system. So a student passing C2, for example, with grade A will give them 42 UCAS tariff points, which is equivalent to a B grade at A levels. So they are quite powerful, really, for students to gain preferable positions with big universities for admissions as well. And obviously, the last point is that a lot of these universities publish their requirements on their websites. So students are traveling or considering studying overseas, they must consult their websites before they do so. So I brought here a number of examples: University College London, University of Birmingham, and all these universities really do recognize Cambridge qualifications. In future webinars, I will talk about specific countries, and I will basically liaise to bring really the most needed kind of type of information required for our students in Pakistan. There are many useful links that I would share afterwards for students' mobility and students moving to other countries to study with Cambridge qualifications. But I also started the conversation at the beginning, if you remember, talking about some pedagogical and academic materials related to the integration of learning and assessment in the classroom, and also learning-oriented assessment. And if you are interested, we do have a lot of resources available. If you click on that link here, it will take you to the available resources that you can download. They're all available free of charge, and they provide you with really rich content. The pedagogical pace of how we see language acquisition taking place, which we summarized in that slide, if you remember, talking about the 8 components in our criteria of language acquisition. And obviously some of the references, so the materials that I used, and that brings me to the last 5 minutes of my presentation. But like I promised, if you have any specific questions, please feel free to jot them down in the Q&A box. Unfortunately, I can't really go through the chat because we won't have time, but I will take a quick look at the Q&A section and hopefully try to answer some of these questions in the remaining 5 minutes that we still have. But just before we start doing that, I just want to kind of emphasize on the point that basically we are here to have a long and